This sode would not be possible without the support of our listeners, patrons, and sponsors. If you'd like to learn more about supporting the 3-Bit Gamer Show, check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/3bg. And a huge thanks goes out to our boss-level patrons, Christopher and Patrick.
Go over there.
No. Look, he's got to go over there.
Okay, yeah, you're right. JD, go over there.
You're doing it wrong. You have to put that one there first.
I can't believe you didn't know that.
Guys, leave me alone! I know how to play solitaire!
This is Asmodan. Welcome to the 3-Bit Gamer Show.
It's the 3-Bit Gamer
This Peterson. Guys, we have background music playing while this goes.
We don't need
it's
it
going to be
It does
very
not
discordant.
shred as much as that
I'm
did.
pretty sure it's going to match up.
Pretty sure it's going to match up. If it
Yeah, it's like
matches
Dark
up,
Side of the
I will
Moon.
poo my pants.
And
I promise
and
you
Wizard
this.
of Oz. Lynn and I planned this. It's perfect.
Do you know how long I spent composing that? How dare you, sir?
Pretty song. All right. Kudos is our positivity segment. We like to start the episode off on a positive note, not just a hardcore note. You shouldn't have told me to
Here's
add
the
more
thing.
energy.
I told JD, I was like, just come in with a tiny bit more energy. And he came in not at a
All the
10,
energy.
not at 11, at a solid 13.
Hell yeah. That's where I roll.
Ooh,
That's what I
lucky
do.
13.
All right. So my kudos this week goes to a movie that I saw on Disney Plus
Oh,
called Togo.
to go.
It's spelled to go, but it's all one word.
One word, to go.
Togo, if you
like an
guys don't remember, if you guys know Balto?
It was a dog?
Yes.
Okay.
What's a dog?
Okay. Are you familiar
so
with the
let's-
story of
okay.
Balto?
Yes, of course
I'm not
I know.
familiar with the story
He-
of Balto.
Balto did not suffer and try so hard just so anti-vaxxers these days can just not use those precious vaccines.
You know who tried even harder than Balto was Togo. So Balto ran the last leg of the serum run. So if you guys
Wait,
are
what is
not
happening?
familiar,
I don't know any of this.
back in the early 1900s in Alaska, the landscape was changing because essentially it was recovering from the gold rush of the 19th century. There were still people established up there and living up there, but these were very isolated communities.
Like, did you not take early 1900s Alaskan history in school? Like, I don't know
stupid.
where you
Guys, I
were
went
educated.
to public school in Las Vegas. We didn't cover Alaskan history.
Weird.
This is the problem with the U.S. education
Guys, we
system.
covered lots of desert,
Can't believe you've never heard of the
landscape
serum
history.
run. So long story short, basically the residents of Nome, Alaska, which is inaccessible to this day by road or anything other than like ferry or plane, they
Challenge accepted.
there was a strain of diphtheria that was like tearing through the town, which in a small isolated town is obviously going to just kill everyone.
Yep.
So they had the serum, which was which would cure or treat diphtheria, and they couldn't get it there because it was like these crazy storms because Nome's right on the coast of Alaska, which is a pretty rough area. And so they're like, well, we can't get a plane, we can't get a boat, there's no other way to get it up there in time before everyone dies other than dog sleds. And so you've heard of the Iditarod, right?
Yeah.
That's the Iditarod. It's like the marathon race is like has a story. This is the story behind the Iditarod is that these guys, Togo left from Nome and went to meet the people that were coming from Anchorage, north
Togo's the name of a person.
of a dog.
Okay.
So he's the lead dog.
Got
And he went
Yeah,
and
we're not going to
grabbed
give the
the
human the credit for this.
Yeah,
Fuck
he
that.
went and grabbed the serum, and then he brought it back, and then Balto, who you might have known, did the last leg of the Iditarod.
Okay.
So this is a film about that. It's got
This is a
Willem
true
Dafoe.
story, like Togo was a real true dog.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Balto, there's a statue of Balto in Central Park in New York.
Okay.
It was a huge effing deal. I mean, there's only a couple thousand people living in Nome, but this was like the news item of 1910 or whenever
Plus,
the
it's
hell
a
it
dog.
was. Yeah,
I like dogs.
Yeah, so it's
doing
it's got
noble work.
It's got Willem Dafoe in it, and honestly, this is going to sound weird. I think it's some of his best acting ever.
Willem Dafoe?
This is, I mean,
Willem.
so you go into it thinking, oh, it's going to be like, oh, it's a live action take on Serum Run, and it'll be like whatever. This is one of the most gorgeously shot. I'm a little biased, right? Because I have 2 huskies, but it's incredibly gorgeous. The shots, if you like animals, it's fun, but like the acting and the writing is unbelievable. There's one scene, I can't. I guess I don't know. It's kind of a spoiler.
Did you get choked up?
Oh,
Did you?
No, dude. It was beyond choked up. I was like,
sobbing.
Okay, so there's one scene where it's so intense that like, yeah, tears just are like streaming down my face, but not because I'm like sad, because I was like, this is like the most beautiful shit I've ever seen. I'll just tell you. So Willem Dafoe is on this dog sled going across this sound, which is like a bay that's frozen over, but not really frozen over, and the ice keeps cracking and exploding, and the dogs are kind of looking around like, oh shit, and he just laughs and starts reciting basically a line from Henry V, Shakespeare, the speech. What was it? I can't remember that speech, but he's like cribbed it and put
I'm
his
kind
dog.
of getting goosebumps just thinking about it. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm like, oh, I can see this.
Okay, hold on. We'll pause. I will find the clip and I'll play it. Okay, so
You can hear the ice.
Yeah, you can hear the ice that's kind of cracking and popping as the sled dogs are running across it.
That's the sound of ice cracking.
That's so intense. Jesus.
Yeah, that would freak me out. There they go.
Good dog.
So the ice is now exploding by his dogs.
The dogs are kind of freaking out, looking around.
What, my pups? Are we to fear ice now? He which hath no stomach to this fight, let him depart. His passport shall be made. We will not die in that dog's company. Old dogs forget, but he will remember with advantages the feats he did that day. Then shall our names familiar in his mouth as household words. Zephyla, the driver, Fritz and Sally, Molly, and Red and Togo, the great Togo in lead. Be all in their flowing water bowls freshly remembering. And dogs and gnome nowadays shall think themselves accursed they were not here. We few, we happy few, we band of champions. Now run, my pups! Run!
Nice.
Damn. Okay, Willem Dafoe can act the shit out of anything.
I
Holy
told you,
shit.
right?
That's good.
I told
that
you,
was
right?
really good.
So it is like an incredibly well acted, well directed, well shot film. It absolutely has blown me away. That scene, if it got you sweaty,
Yeah.
that is 10% of the scene later in the film that is, I say without a doubt, the most stressful moment in a film
my
I've
goodness.
ever witnessed. You know that scene in like the Jurassic Park, The Lost World, where they're like trying not to fall through the thing that's like the trailer's falling off the cliff, and that's like so anxiety. This makes that look just like you could do it sleeping. Like, this movie gets so stressful that I would say, even though I think it's rated PG, just PG, and it's on Disney Plus, it will traumatize children. If you watch this with your kids, they will be freaked out. So yeah, it's an incredible film. It's super intense. It's very accurate. I'll tell you, there's a scene where Togo is a puppy, and the guy's Willem Dafoe is trying to keep him in a cage, and he keeps digging out no matter what he does. And I'm like, I relate to that on a spiritual level. So it gets huskies right. It gets mushing right. It's just so amazing. Obviously, I spent way too much time on this, but yeah, that's my kudos. Togo on Disney Plus.
Nice.
good. I needed something to watch on Disney Plus besides just The Simpsons over and
Over
over
and over
again.
and
so
over
this
again.
is good. This is good.
Lynn, you said you had a kudos?
Yeah, it's kind of crappy in comparison to that.
I mean, they're not all Togo.
If you want to like just chop and just move on to the next thing, that's totally cool.
No, all kudos.
All kudos are welcome
All
here.
kudos are welcome in this establishment.
I mean, we pimp Fred Durst all the time. Like,
Oh
come
God.
on.
Okay, with that in mind, I will say this. Okay, so my kudos goes to a new Korean fried chicken place in South Salt Lake. Yes, it is called Chick Queen. It is in.
Been there.
Serious?
Okay,
Sent pictures to you.
yo.
Is that the place? Yeah, is that the place?
Yeah, the one on
Yo.
State.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
we
it's-
went there.
Yeah. So
Chick Queen is dope.
it is so good.
It looked amazing.
So good. So I went there once and I got their spicy chicken. And if you've never had Korean fried chicken, like there's this really cool theory that everything that's on a similar like equator line has similar tastes in food. So if you line up like South Korea and the South, like in like the South of America, like North America, South of North America, they're similar. And both of these regions do fried chicken so good. But
Yeah.
Korean fried chicken is like extra bready.
I was just gonna say,
They
there's a
u-
ton of
yeah,
frickin'
they
breading
use
on it.
like a lighter kind of tempura-ish kind
Mm-hmm.
of batter on like this fried chicken, and then they just infuse it with all of these wonderful flavors. So the first time we were there, we got just the spicy kind. And
How
I was like,
spicy was it?
How spicy was it?
it was
Because-
so spicy. My diarrhea was like flaming shit the next day.
Lava
Lava
butt.
butt.
No, so because I went to a Korean place and I was like, oh, spicy pork, that sounds good, and I got that and I couldn't eat it. It was so
Yeah,
hot.
this
I was
is-
like, I forgot this is a real Korean place.
No, Korean
Dang
and
it.
Indian and Thai. Those
Oh, no.
three
If spicy's in the name, don't get
don't
it.
get it.
No,
Nope.
and like, yeah, so this chicken was so good, but it comes with like freshly sliced jalapenos on top, which complement the crunchy breadiness so well. I went there last night and I got their green onion one, which comes just plain bread, and then you pour and drizzle this really mild sauce in it, so that one's not spicy. And then it comes with all this shredded green onion.
What's it called?
It's called Chick Queen.
You could
Chick
probably hit it on
Chick
the way
Queen.
home if you hit State.
I ate on my way here.
Oh, tight.
But-
you know when
oh.
you get you know when you get like a fried piece of fried chicken, like not Korean fried chicken, and you take a bite and you're like, oh, that was mostly breading, and you feel a little dirty, like
Breading
ugh.
in oil.
Yeah.
Imagine
Korea's-
that like every other bite.
Oh yeah,
and
Korea was
it's
just
lighter.
like, we know what you're here for.
Yeah,
We
you just want the
know what
breading,
you're
and
here
there's like
for."
a tiny sliver
You
of
sick
chicken
bastards.
inside. Yeah, you just want the breading.
Yep. So go to Chick Queen, and I'm like evangelical about it because one, I have not had Korean fried chicken in a very long time, and so the fact that I can get it here in Salt Lake is dope. And two, it's honestly just really good fried chicken.
I love Korean food, especially if it's done well. Like Korean food done well is one of my favorites. I don't know. I love the spicy and the fermented. You know what I mean?
They
love
get
it.
it right.
The late Anthony Bourdain, that was his favorite food, Korean food.
Oh,
So
Wow.
every time you eat Korean food, you're honoring his memory.
live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news. All right, our news this week, as with every week, is brought to you by Crave Cookies, and we actually have some Crave cookies in
Right
the
in front
house
of
right
us.
now. Man, I don't know if they have a cookie of the week. That seems like every cookie they're
It seems like
throwing out.
lots of cookies right now.
Well, it's Valentine's, and that's a pretty big deal, I guess.
Did you
for
say
the-
Valentine's?
He said Verlantombs?
I said Valentine's. Yeah,
Valentine's.
yeah. Is
Okay,
it-
that checks out.
Yeah, that checks out, right? Saying it right.
Yeah, I mean you're close. You're real close.
Close enough.
But like, yeah, that's like how my 2-year-old say it. So we're good.
oh,
Don't worry
perfect. So it's Valentine's coming up, and that's cookie season, right? And so
About it. I guess. Valentine's.
So we have, let's see, there's a cream cheese. Okay, so it's a red velvet cookie with cream cheese filling. There is a sugar cookie that is like rolled in that crunchy red confectioner sugar, so it's like crunch on the
Crunchy on that
outside,
side.
sugar on the inside. There's the Rockstar, which we already talked about, and they have the raspberry cheesecake cookie, which is back. So pretty dope. Check them out. Crave Cookies. Crave Cookies in Midvale, Utah. CraveCookies.com. All right, Peterson, kick us off on our news.
Okay, so the first story is about GeForce Now. Have you heard of it?
I have not. Tell me what GeForce Now is.
So GeForce Now. So you've heard of Google Stadia.
No, tell me what Google Stadia
Yes, you
is.
absolutely have. You crap on it every week twice.
I occasionally will just get a text from JD that's just like, remember Google Stadia?
And then it just does the poop emoji, like 4 poop emojis.
It's my favorite emoji. It's the best one.
So it's another GeForce Now is another in the line of streaming video game streaming services that companies are working on. GeForce is NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA does historically they just do like GPUs, right? That's like their bread and butter. They're in some other stuff, but that's what they do. So for 8 years, they have been working on this beta.
Not just like a year like Google did.
Take some notes,
8 years,
Stadia. 8 years. They did have some misfires, but guess what? They didn't like advertise this as full launch, right? So they've been doing betas, all sorts of testing. So while they've just launched, they've opened it up for people to go ahead and start using. GeForce Now is how much is Stadia?
$15 a month or something, plus the $130 buy-in.
And, yeah, you got to buy some hardware plus
Uh-huh.
like the you have to buy games, right?
Yeah.
GeForce Now $5 per month, and how they differentiate themselves is you don't buy games from them. You play games in your existing library of games.
Nani?
Yeah.
Blows my mind, right?
So you have Steam. You can now play them anywhere. It's the same type of thing. Play on any device, play on a screen, right? But you can play any games in your Steam library from anywhere.
Yeah.
The other huge thing is you can sync your saved games, which is a gigantic deal. Because if you buy Destiny 2, for example, I think on Stadia, right? This is a new instance of it. You don't have this. It's not the same one that's on your PC, right? So you're like rebuying the game and starting over. GeForce Now says you're already playing games. You've got achievements and all that stuff. Just jump in. You can use your same ones.
GeForce Now, keep this up and you'll hit my G spot.
Wow.
That's actually an ad we're cutting out for later.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
GeForce Now is an official sponsor of the show. Thank you.
Whether or
Lynn.
not they want to be, they are now.
One other thing that I thought was super cool, they have unlimited 1 hour free trials.
Yep.
Yo.
I was like,
It's
what?
like an hour a day or
That's
whatever.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is what you need.
Yeah.
And you know, quite frankly, if it takes you 30 minutes to get into a game, that's pretty
right.
bad reflection. So I think it shows that they're confident, that they're like, you can get a good experience that we think will sell the product in an hour.
Yep. So the downsides of GeForce Now, because it's not all perfect, right? You have to have a really, really excellent connection. That's what they say. But listen to this. They're like, you can play on 15 Mbps. Megabytes? Millibytes.
15
Manibytes.
is, so 5
All
to
the
10
bytes.
is what they recommend for Netflix. So 15
So
is
15
not that much.
30 for if you want 1080p 60, and then 50 for the best.
But
the
if you're
best
considering
case.
like a ton of, there's a lot of games on their list that don't need to go that high.
No.
And so yeah,
No,
you could
no,
definitely
no.
use this, especially if it's free.
If you're playing your little indie games too, like this will be great. You also you can't live too far from the NVIDIA servers, but that covers like 80% of the United States.
Yeah.
Let's see. They don't have Capcom, EA, Konami, Remedy, Rockstar, or Square Enix.
Yeah, but they still have hundreds of titles that they currently support. So those nits are so minor compared to the dings against Stadia.
If this keeps like continuing, if it keeps growing, they'll get those guys, right? Capcom will be on board. EA will be on
because
board.
everyone has integrations already with GeForce. Like the what is that? The on your desktop that you have the
GeForce Now, or no, it's the GeForce Experience.
GeForce Experience, which just like configures all of your settings and stuff for games, and they all integrate with like every freaking game you can imagine. So they already have those established relationships, whereas Google doesn't, and they're trying to build from scratch. I just think it's a much better business model than Stadia, which is, I mean, Stadia is just trying to get people to fork over a subscription fee, $15 a month, which is pretty steep as these things go, without having done any of the work. They don't want to put any of the work in, but they do want you to just stuff $15
It's
in
because
their
they're trying to
pocket.
jump into the game so late.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
And it's a limited service. So this is such a better business model, I think, because of how you already have these games.
Especially for gamers who have been playing for a long time.
And so the free is for an hour a day. you can get 6 hours in a row, which is, I mean, if you're like, that's limiting, you need to go see a doctor. But it's $5 a month for that. So 6 hours a day. And I think you could do 6 hours, then break for an hour, and then do another 6 hours if you wanted. I don't really know, but I'm sure it's not just like 6 hours per 24. The end of the article, I think, sums this up perfectly, and I think it's why this is going to absolutely demolish Stadia, and why it's proof that this is the best way for this model
This is
moving
a better
forward.
version of the model.
The article, this is me just reading from it, but the nice part is that you don't have to take my word. Unlike the current state of Google Stadia, you won't have to invest $130 worth of hardware just to try out a glorified beta, then buy your games again, wondering when Google's free tier might arrive. You can sign up to try NVIDIA's free tier right now, try it with games you already own for an hour at a time, and see if it works for you. What an incredibly novel concept.
Wow.
Instead of paying to be in a beta...
Paying like a lot of money to be in a beta.
Yeah,
Here's this
it's not
thing-
like $5 and try.
Yeah.
This is a substantial
free for an
chunk of change.
hour,
Dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And for some people, honestly, that's all they need is an hour a day. Some people only have that, and they're going to be like, "Cool, what a free dope service."
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my god, it's so brilliant! I'm so
Honestly,
stoked for Nvidia.
Like, I didn't give a shit about any of this. Like, when Stadia was announced, I was like, that seems stupid. I just don't care because it was just such a poor model.
Right.
And after reading this article, I'm
Oh yeah, I'll check
I'm
it
like,
out,
I'm on
'cause
board
it's
for
free!
this.
when also was like,
Yeah.
oh, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
if it works, then this will be wonderful.
Right, and
But-
this has like a use cases other than like, you know, I am a Google product fanboy. I have all the products already, and I'm gonna give them more money. Like, there's it's a so much more open, and like, who doesn't have GeForce experience on their computer?
Right.
Anyway, all right, so let's move on. This next one, this is our
boy.
our favorite. I mean, this guy we haven't heard from in so long, and
So
I
long,
just
it's been
thought
like,
he was just
what,
going to kind of
6 months?
dissolve into nothingness like he deserves to. But Cliff Blazinski is in the news again.
Our boy. We
Uh,
love him.
Patron saint.
We love him, but not for
Patron
good
saint
reason.
of just whinging.
Yeah, so Cliff Blazinski, if you remember, was the guy behind Gears of War originally. And then he left Epic Games to found his own studio and produced a Overwatch clone that was so bad he tried to save the studio in the final dying months by switching over and creating a brand new game that was an attempt to be a PUBG / Fortnite clone.
Yeah.
Basically just like jumped around, doesn't know what he's doing. And I would say in general, the dude's just unbridled arrogance and hubris is responsible for all of his problems in his life.
100%.
This is let me just sum this up for you. After he shipped Gears of War 1, so he'd shipped 2 games. One was Jazz Jackrabbit.
tight. Huge jazz fan.
Because he was a younger dude at the time, like in his mid-30s, and his Twitter profile said, "I'm basically the Tony Stark of video games."
Oh,
This was in like 2009 when like Iron Man was huge.
that's like really arrogant, though.
You shipped 2
I don't think
games and
even
you
Robert-
are...
I don't even think Robert Downey Jr. could ever call himself the Tony Stark of anything. Just saying that, even no
Yes.
one can get away with saying that.
So I think what I don't know. Tony Stark is like in the MCU. He's the smartest man in like the universe. Like he goes toe to toe with this guy that snapped his
Well,
fingers. and
Thanos
erased-
had heard of him.
had heard of him.
Right?
But yeah, no. Cliff Blazinski
That's him.
of Jazz Jackrabbit fame is Tony
That's him.
Stark. So that's how he's kind of lived his life, and I think he doesn't. But he posts on Instagram, basically blaming the failures of his his latest game.
Lawbreakers.
Lawbreakers.
Oh, and it was so bad.
I'll just read it. I'll read the Instagram post. He says, "One big epiphany I had was that I pushed my own personal political beliefs in a world that was increasingly divided. Instead of the story being, this game looks neat, it became, this is the game with the woke bro trying to push his hacky politics on us with gender-neutral bathrooms. Instead of, these characters seem fun, it was, this is the studio with the CEO who refuses to make his female characters sexier."
I don't know if anyone said
Instead
that.
of who am I going to choose, it became white dude shoehorns diversity in his game and then smells his own smug farts in interviews instead of just letting the product speak for itself. Okay,
He's writing this, mind
listen,
you. He's writing this about
motherfucker.
himself.
You will be smelling your own smug farts in any interview ever. Even this post reeks of you smelling your own smug farts. And can I just say, knowing that's a reference to an increasingly outdated and kind of out of the times South Park? Nice, dude. Real edgy, Tony. So, I just...
Wait, come on. Tell us the best part of this story, JD.
Well, of course I had to respond to him on Instagram because I think he's a chode.
He is a chode.
Because he starts this...
it's hard for me to express exactly how frustrated I am using just words. Like
this is
there's just been a lot of like finger clenching and just like forehead rubbing and just like
this is how he finishes the post. It's okay to be political when your company or studio is established for great product first, but we were unproven and I regret doing it. And then in parentheses, this will be quite the doozy of a chapter in the upcoming memoir. Okay, so let me tell you. Let me break this down. This guy had in one of the maps of one of this failed game, there was a gender neutral bathroom. Just, it had nothing to do with the game. It just was there. It was a sign on a door. And he seriously thinks his failings as a manager, as a leader, as a studio head were not to blame for any of the failings of his game, but the fact that there was a sign, and he probably didn't do it himself. He wasn't responsible. There was a sign on the door, and he's like, God,
why did I do that?
Fucking
why
liberals.
I shouldn't have done it.
so
Yeah.
They got to me.
They got to me. I'm so sorry.
As someone who is a part of a marginalized community, this makes me so goddamn mad. One, that this privileged as fuck person thinks that he can ride on like the very real trauma and difficulties that marginalized people who need advocates to help them get like the human rights that they need.
You have to be established for great product before you can be advocates, Lynn.
Like, it makes me mad to extents where it's hard for me to find words, to be honest. This is a person who cannot take responsibility for anything that he has done.
Yeah.
And therefore, like, this is like Kevin Spacey being like, oh, I can't possibly be a pedophile because I'm gay and I identify as a gay man. No, I have
He
no
called himself a woke bro.
Yeah, I have no room in my life, and neither of us should, for these like fake allies that just end up taking space and whinging when they don't get the pat on the back and the jerk off that they want for pretending to give a shit about equal rights and human rights. I'm sorry. He can take his memoir, grind it into like, I don't know, like a smoothie, drink it, and then smell that when he farts it out. Because I don't give a shit. Sorry, dude.
So this is the other funny part that Lynn mentioned. The guy is like bragging about writing an upcoming memoir. Cliff Blazinski is 44 years old.
He
Oh,
deserves
yeah,
a
he's
memoir.
lived a long life.
Got a full book stuff worth
full
of stuff.
of
I guess.
wisdom.
Douchebaggery. This is gonna be a real douchey book. I can promise you that.
So I had to chime in because I just had to chime in. So I responded to him on Instagram and said, imagine being so full of yourself that you write a memoir at 44. Cliff Blazinski, who has hundreds of people responding to this post like, you go, Cliff, or I
Way to
like
go.
lawbreakers, or don't worry about the haters, you got this.
No, like this is
He
like,
hasn't responded to any of those, but he sees my comment.
He responded?
And he just rubs his hands and he's like, this is what I do all day. He says, imagine living such a roller coaster of a life that you can write a memoir at 44. Maybe if you find something more productive to do instead of trolling someone's Instagram and get going, you could too. Smiley face. Listen, loser. Listen, you fucking loser. Thank you for giving me a look inside the window of someone who has once successful and is now kind of a failure with a trailing fan
kind of a
base.
joke.
What you do in your day-to-day is you post stuff on Instagram and then you sit down on your couch in your big lonely house and you stare at your Instagram notifications. That is the bleakest
And when
Black
some dude-
Mirror style shit I have ever heard.
Because this was also
I
a
have-
very quick response to after you
I have
posted.
0 posts on Instagram. I have 0 followers, and I follow 4 dogs. And this guy's like, I have to stick it to this
Are
motherfucker.
you kidding me?
So I responded, literally anyone can write a memoir at 44. It's just that most people have the self-awareness not to.
And
so-
then you were deleted.
And then he deleted all the comments. Little bitch. And then Lynn brought this to my attention because Lynn's always got a good Simpsons quote for us.
This biography of Bart came out awfully quickly. It's not even about him. Sure it is. Look at the cover. But inside it's mostly about Ross Perot, and the last 2 chapters are excerpts from the Oliver North trial.
Oliver North. He was just poured into that uniform.
All right, let's move
Guarantee
on.
that Bart Simpson's fictional autobiography or memoir is better than the one that this.
Oh, I would
Jared
read
puts
that
out.
over Cliffy B's. That is no question in my mind.
Is that just like a stamp on your own life? You're like, this is as good as it gets. It's like when Andy in The Office talks about, I wish there was a way of knowing you were in the good times before you left them. Cliffy knows he's left them,
He
and
knows
he's
that
looking
they
back
gone.
like, that
God,
was
how
nice
can I
before everyone thought
squeeze-
I was a douchebag.
How can I squeeze this chapped, dry teat to its last drop?
I'll write a
shitty
memoir.
memoir.
All right, we got to move on. Let's see. Oh, this next one. This one's just kind of funny. I love speedrunning. I love the speedrunning community. I just think it's awesome.
Such a wild thing for me.
Yeah. There is Ocarina of Time, the N64 Legend of Zelda game, has now been officially beaten in under 10 minutes.
The level of respect that I have for speedrunners is the same I think that most people would have for professional athletes. I think this is
So grindy.
unreal.
It's so grindy. The
Unreal.
guy that got this had been playing, I think, for like 13 straight hours. And so what this is, and it's so wild to me, and I can't wrap my head around it because I'm not a genius. It's called arbitrary code execution. So essentially what you're doing is you're finding the things that you can do in the game that actually allow you to write over the code that it's supposed to be executing so you can tell the game to do what you want it to do, because all of these actions you have in the game have a value in the code base. And if you do the actions in a certain way, they overwrite the value they're supposed to have and they do something entirely different. So if you do enough jumps and you watch this video, this 10-minute speedrun, it is not a speedrun in the traditional way. Ocarina of Time is notoriously very glitchy and completely ridden with bugs and stuff, and that's what they've been doing. They've been exploiting these bugs, exploring them for, 2 decades plus? 25 years of this game being out is how long they've been exploiting it, and so they finally found this is him beating it on a Japanese N64. This isn't like he's on a computer on an emulator, and essentially it's just like running around inside the original village at the beginning of the game, jumping around, running backwards, doing backwards jumps, running at a certain place, buying a pot a certain way, and then using it to do something certain, and then all of a sudden the final cutscene loads, and he just like grabs his head and he's like, "Oh my god!" It's so amazing. They've already, since I put this on the dock, they've already shaved a few seconds off because now they can, mimic his
perfect what he did.
Dude, it's unbelievable. Imagine doing a specific set of actions for 10 straight minutes that has to be exact, but you don't, like Guitar Hero on Expert.
It's like playing,
but you don't have the guide. It's all in your head.
Yeah,
It's like watching someone like decipher code, like an exceptionally difficult
It's
code.
like Neo. He's like Neo.
But not just like looking at numbers, but then actually having to use a joystick in order to debug it.
Right.
It's the amount of brain power and then also dexterity that you need to make this happen and accuracy is unreal.
Dude, it's so crazy.
Unreal.
I respect it. I think it's wild, and I think it is like mind-numbingly pointless, but I respect it.
It's pointless. And I think it's just that people will be competitive about anything.
I can't even imagine wanting to even think about trying.
Have you watched some of these speedrunners though?
I've watched a couple.
It is weird to me how quickly I get sucked in.
I don't get sucked in. I get like anxious,
especially
more
the
than
Mario ones, like the 2D side-scrolling Mario
yeah.
ones that they can beat the game in like a couple of minutes. Like, it's unbelievable, dude.
It's crazy.
Okay, next we've got this is pretty cool.
Just a quick, positive
Sega
news story.
Europe has announced that they will be releasing fully recyclable packaging for all PC titles.
What?
So you go buy a hard
Good
copy.
news. What is this?
I gotta say, it's kind of weird though, because anytime you crack open a DVD case or a Blu-ray case, if you pull the paper sleeve out, which the paper is recyclable, they all are recyclable. I've recycled them before.
But this doesn't even have that plastic.
This is cardboard.
This is like
so we don't need to use petroleum
and
products.
the disc is right in there, and so you open it up, pull the disc out. You can keep it for the artwork if you want, but if not, just throw it in the recycling bin, it's good to go.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think more of this is better, less waste, but I mean, we're moving to a completely digital landscape, so I bet we go full digital before we go full recyclable packaging.
Well, this is the type of stuff that needs to happen across all sorts of industries.
Yep.
Right?
I love single-use plastics. What else are we going to fill the ocean with, Peterson? Come on. It's so empty. The animals need something to eat.
Here's the thing. You might not think it's that bad and until you visit in like a poorer Asian country where they have people living out on the water. When I went to Malaysia, they have people living on the water, and we're going around in a boat, and it's a layer of garbage everywhere. And then you're like, oh, I see it now. Because, you go to Southern California and like there'll be some garbage on the beach, but no. That's not what we're talking about.
No, look at like the beaches in Brazil, and
India, and like you'll see this and you're like, oh, I get it. I get what's happening.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, so that's pretty cool. And then finally, Peterson, you want to take this one?
Yeah, this is a quick one. Blizzard. So Blizzard, we talked about them last week when their misfires with Warcraft 3 Reforged with Aaron last week, and talked about how a lot of people were just really upset at the game because it wasn't what they were expecting or even really promised.
No.
And look, that happens. That happens a lot with video games, right? Where something is promised, it's not delivered, we get upset. That's
regularly.
Not necessarily news.
But, so, I mean, it's Blizzard, and they've destroyed all goodwill at this point.
Yeah.
Like, they're out of goodwill.
Oh, my God.
And
But
so,
they keep digging that hole.
They do this, and you're like,
The
what
grave's
are you
not
doing?
deep
And people,
enough yet.
People are not happy. And so they did come back, and they said, okay, we're Blizzard. We stand by our product, but we're going to go and patch it like crazy. And they already did a major big patch. They're going to try to fix all the stuff, which honestly, a lot of these issues should never have existed from the start. How they didn't foresee this is wild to me. But, their Blizzard CEO came in and he was like, hey, I stand by it. It was a good product. Maybe not exactly what you wanted, but it's good. But we can fix it. And so they did that, but they also removed all of the refund limits. So it's like, if you ask for a refund, you got your refund.
Yep. Because people have been doing two things, which is the classic gamer tool, which is review bombing and mass refunds.
Yep.
And they're getting them.
And so, they got the review bombing hard. I think the story said at that point, it was the lowest Metacritic score a game had ever gotten.
Oh.
Yeah, lowest user score.
Which is crazy because it can't be the worst game ever made, but people are that upset. You know what I mean?
It goes from what lots of people consider one of the greatest games ever made, to a remake that is worse than the original. It can feel that way.
It looks a little bit better, but again, they didn't get what they promised. They removed like ladder and custom games. Also, you don't have ownership of the custom games. That was the thing. So they're working on it, but I love it, dude. In their earnings call,
their earnings call,
Activision
Bobby Kotick.
Blizzard. And he was like,
we're doing all mobile stuff. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, because that's what the investors want to hear.
Yeah.
He's like, guys, just chill. We had a rough game launch, but we are doing mobile releases of all of our major titles.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
Gamers don't want to hear that.
No, you know who really doesn't want to hear that? Blizzard gamers in 2020. Are you guys kidding me? Bobby Kotick rolls out with the "Don't you have phones?" What a dumbass! Oh my God, this is
why
awesome.
is he doing this?
Remember, like
you can't keep getting away with it.
Like, remember back in the day when like Capcom was the shit and they were making all the good games, and now like
Now they've got like one or
It's the same
two.
thing.
We're living through that right now.
It
with
happened
Blizzard.
to Atari before Capcom. It just
We're
is a
watching
cyclical.
this slow decline of just digging a grave, making bad decisions,
Yeah.
not listening to like your target demographic like you should, and just listening to people who want bling bling instead.
I think what we're learning is that even though they tried to convince us otherwise, all giants must die. In the video game industry, all giants will die. If
The
it's
candle
Atari,
that burns bright,
Capcom,
twice as bright,
never
burns half
stopped,
as
like,
long.
Acclaim, like these studios that just get so big, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, they're going to be making games forever," and then they collapse. I think Activision Blizzard is showing us that it doesn't matter how much you try to insulate yourself by buying up every studio you can get. Eventually, the money men come in. And the money men are antithetical to everything that comes in and builds a good video game. They might get lucky because of the sheer amount of money they're throwing at these things. But for the most part, people that are making games to make money are not making good games, period. It happened with Atari in the fucking 80s, and it's happening now in 2020. It's not that hard
Here's
of
the thing.
of an equation.
I was thinking about this. I feel like there was such an easy solution that they just ignored completely, right? So Blizzard, they should have made an offshoot studio with a different name that was working on their mobile division. And they said, hey, we still got Blizzard. Blizzard's working on what Blizzard's working on. We also, over here, because we reckon, and they should have just said this, we recognize mobile gaming is a huge area of gaming. We want to test it out with some of our products. So they should have launched a completely separate like side company.
And you know why this is such a good idea? It's because Blizzard fans are so over the top that they literally know the teams that are broken down. So they name their teams the team that's working on Diablo, Warcraft, whatever. Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, Team 4. And the Blizzard gamers know off the top of their head, you say, what is Team 4? They're like, oh, that's StarCraft or whatever. And they know that. So they know the internal workings of your company.
Right.
So if you'd done something like that, they'd be like, oh, well, the mobile shit that's Team 6 and they suck, whatever, forget them. But you're doing it in-house, you're taking resources from other teams.
Exactly.
And they know it.
That's what people hate.
They know it.
They're taking resources actively. They're keeping it as part of their product, and they're focusing on that instead of being like, oh, this is a separate thing that we're doing. We're still making Blizzard over here. Right. This is our other thing if you're interested, right?
Yeah.
Stupid.
All right, we got to move on. What time are we at?
42.
Okay. All right. So we have a few segments here that we want to get to. Let's start off with the first one. So, Peterson, this was yours, so introduce it.
Yeah, so I was thinking, so I'm playing Outer Worlds still, and I'm very close to being done. Right? I play like 1 or 2 hours at a time. And I feel like I've hit that point normally when I would bounce off a game. Right? But I'm not bouncing off this game, right? I'm still just I go in, I have a good time. But I was thinking about that. Why do I bounce off some games, even if I love it? And why some games will just hook me forever, like Rocket League?
Right.
So why do we bounce off games? So that's my first question. Like, what makes you guys bounce off a game?
Why is the sky blue? Why am I the way I am?
Those are the questions.
No. We're not going into that, Lynn. You got to pay me for that type of questions.
Oh, damn.
I have three
Okay.
words: boredom, bullshit, and difficulty. So if I'm bored, I have no patience for boredom. There is very little, unless it's a game that's so hyped or someone's like, you have to play it to this point or you have to get through this.
Even then, though, I still might bounce off.
Right.
If I'm not having a good time.
It has to be someone I trust. So like implicitly, like someone here on this podcast but it's not someone at work. Not going to take your word on it.
Just do it.
So boredom, I'll just bounce because I just don't have the time. I have so many games.
Well, there's
to
so many
play,
other things that you're
so
like
many things to do.
I'd rather
I don't
do
have
those.
time to be bored in a video game.
Yep.
Bullshit. I have very little patience for bullshit and I feel like bullshit is so subjective too. So FTL, which you guys know, is my current addiction. It's like my black tar heroin. I haven't played it in like a week.
Taking a break. He made a decision to take a break.
Fucking bullshit, because there's one ship that I've been trying to beat the game with. So I cruised through and I just was like, because I started on medium, played like 40 hours on medium difficulty, and I was like forged in the fires of hell. So when I put it down to
And
easy.
I was like, oh, JD, I'm playing on easy. You should do that.
Put them down to easy, and I win every game. I win, I mean, every freaking ship, every game. And then finally, I'm like, oh,
You do what you want. You just roll through space like you own the place.
I am like the god of this game now. But then this one ship, I just don't know what. I'm talking like 7-8 games in a row. I am dying in the most bullshit way. And I'm like,
RNG,
that's bullshit.
RNG is killing you.
Killing me. Like I can't get any luck to save my life. And so I bounced off of it, even though I've admitted it's like one of the best games I've played in years. I think it's flawless. I love it to death. But I was just like, after the last time, I just took my headphones off and I was like, fuck this bullshit. Fuck it.
Yeah, he
And
was
I
so
walked
mad.
away. I was so pissed.
He was so mad.
And it's my favorite game. So I bounced off, but like the literal bounce, I'll bounce back. And then the last one is difficulty. If it spikes to the point where I can't beat it or can't get past a point, or Dota 2, for example. Like I tried it, but it was too difficult.
The barrier to entry is too high.
Yeah, if there's a difficulty spike or just the initial barrier to entry, I will be gone. So boredom, bullshit, difficulty.
What about you, Lynn? Did you have any?
You've basically just kind of broken down what I was going to say a little bit more eloquently, because the reason why I play games is because I want to have fun.
Right.
And I think that's like a distinction that sometimes that we can now make as gamers, because when we first started playing games, there was just we had such a limited selection to choose from that it was fun. But now we can play games because we want to hear a good story, we want to challenge ourselves, we want to submerge ourselves in a different world. But
There's so many reasons, right? We can get in.
So for me, it's still just fun. So there have been so many games that like I know are good. Like I'm gonna butcher this one, Sekiro.
Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
Yeah, that game. I don't doubt that it's a glorious story, that it's awesome gameplay. It is so hard, and it's not fun. That is the problem.
Yeah, that's not fun for you. Like that's not your thing.
There's only so many times where I suck at something, and then I'm like, well, I guess I'm not good at this, and this is no longer fun.
Sucking's not fun.
No, and like there are very many.
Well.
Come on, guys.
It depends on your. This is an explicit podcast now. Yes.
We're just gonna cut the next thing Lynn says, so go for it.
She's beeping herself. Lynn.
Whoa, Jesus, Lynn. Jesus Christ.
And that's why I think sucking can be fun. So, but not in video games, unless I'm playing a dating sim.
Oh shoot.
Jesus.
So mine. Actually, my list mirrors, but maybe is more specific. Like the specific version of JD's. Like if a game gets too repetitive, then I'm like, okay, I got it. I'm kind of done. Or if my character, like in an RPG, if my character really stops progressing, if I've kind of hit that max point where I've gained all the abilities, or something like that, that's when I'm like, meh.
Which is where you're at in Outer Worlds. Toward the end, there's not a lot to gain, and you're just wrapping up story stuff.
Like I've got all the characters and all that stuff.
I'm taking all the drugs I have left. By the way, toward the end, just take all your fucking drugs.
I never take. I never
so
even
have
to
a whole
heal.
store of them.
Oh, I have so many.
I walked in the last mission. It's just like, God, I'd taken so many drugs.
You know how I have a problem collecting stuff.
Yeah.
I just found my new collection. I realized there's a fridge on your ship. Every single food item that I pick up, I put it in my fridge.
Yeah, it's on like the second story or whatever. The second floor.
It's
not by the main entrance.
I have so much alcohol in my fridge. It is ungodly.
So Peterson does the last mission, fall down drunk.
Oh my
just fucking shooting everywhere because he's
but
on
my
like
charisma through the roof.
Yeah, just like do a bunch of meth and then drink yourself into a coma and you're just like shooting everywhere.
Well, it's in this game it's more like lots of cigarettes. Like there are so many cigarettes.
For me,
like nicotine poisoning. You're like, this is how I roll now. I'm so shaky.
I've gotten lung cancer.
We're just about results
in the last minute. Let's see. Oh, if I get too OP, I'll start to bounce off it. So like in an RPG specifically, if I'm like too good, then I'm like, no, I'm not having fun anymore. Like if the challenge level has to be just right, because on the other side, if it gets too hard, like you said with Sekiro and stuff like that, I'm gonna bounce off.
Would you say more times? What would you say is more frequent? It's me or it's you? So is it you bouncing because of your problems with the game, or is it the game pushing you away?
It's me. It's me more often.
100%.
Because
it's always me.
100%.
Because I'll bounce off amazing games.
Yep, and that's the other thing.
Like FTL.
It's
me.
I wrote it down sometimes I'm just for a moment I am jonesing for a genre. And I've said that before. I just want to play a survival game. Like I just really want to. So I'll get one and I'll play it for 20 hours and then I'm like, okay, I'm good. I love the game, but I'm like, I've got it. I'm good. I'm full. I don't need that anymore. The other thing is when there's a game with a really cool concept and you've played it and you've kind of seen the concept and then you're like, oh, I get it. Okay, I'm done. You know what I mean? Like I enjoyed that. I thought it was cool. Don't need to finish the game.
Yes. I honestly kind of feel I was that way with Stardew. I put like 60, 70 hours into it. But when I was like, you can get married, you can have kids, you can do all these things, that's where I was like, okay.
Yeah, like I'm okay. I don't need to do that. I'm fine.
Good. Yeah.
I have a real life for that. So
I do too, but I'm still into our life.
I can't.
No,
Well,
dude,
that's
sometimes
the
it's
thing.
FTL because some people would play FTL and be the exact.
Sometimes it'll just suck you in for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So when you say bouncing off of games and it's entirely me, I so feel that because I will play amazing games, challenging games, games that I'm sure that if I kept on playing would probably like widen
Change
my
your
perspective,
life. Yeah.
or just like give me some like a good experience. But a lot of the time lately, it's just like, oh, I'm just not in the mood.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just not in
like
the
you're.
mood.
That's how I look at it.
That's simple.
You're full. You're full.
what-
You were eating. You had that genre. You enjoyed the meal. Now you're full, and you're just kind of done. That's
you
okay.
guys have heard me rant and rave about Skyrim VR. I so have to be in the mood for it. I really do. And kind of funny, Jenna was like rolling her eyes so hard. The last time I played Skyrim VR, I saddled up because, I'm going to do this for an hour standing up. So I stuffed a bunch of Skittles in my pocket and I was like, this will be great. Every time I do something when I'm like reading dialogue, I'll eat some Skittles. Well, while I was chewing the Skittles, the headband, I didn't realize, was pressing against my head as I was chewing. So it's like wrapped around like my temples and I was chewing. And within like 20 minutes, I had the most blinding headache you could fucking imagine. And I was like, what's going on? It must be the VR. Chomp, chomp, chomp. A couple
Eating
more
just,
Skittles.
like so much sugar.
So much Skittles. No, it wasn't the sugar. It was like the chomping motion
that
pushing
was
my
getting
temple
you?
against the plastic.
Oh my gosh.
Gave me like a literal tension headache. And I bounced off because I'm a Skittle eating moron.
Because you just couldn't stop.
Here's the thing, though. Important point: eating food while playing games. That is important.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
I love doing it, but the problem is if I'm playing a game where I have to have my hands, like I've been playing Wreckfest, right? And I'm in a race, and I'm like, I'm racing, but I just really want to eat that goldfish right there. If you take your hand off the controller for 1 second,
Gotta go down with
you're
your head.
smashed into a wall. You're done. Like you are going to lose all of your spot in the race. So then my follow-up question, because when you bounce off a game, right, that doesn't mean it's a bad game. As we've said, like Forza Horizon 4 holds a very special place in my heart. I just love it. I think it's like almost perfect game. And I'm done playing. I'll probably never play it again, right? Same with like Baba Is You, Stardew Valley. So that's my next question. Is there a game that you love so much that you haven't played in so long, but you can't delete it because you just feel bad deleting it?
Mine, I wouldn't feel
or like
bad
a just in
deleting,
case,
but Age of Empires 2 always just sits there.
It's always
just
there.
in case.
Yep,
just in case, because every once in a while I'm staring at my computer and maybe I've just beaten a game. Typically, it's when I've just beaten a game and I'm like, what am I gonna do for the next 4 hours? I'm gonna play Age of Empires 2. So that just sits there. It's just like my go-to.
Oh, when you're like in between games,
yeah, because it's so reliable.
Do you have any of that?
I'm a game hoarder. So every single game.
But I love you, and she's pulling them all in.
It's always
I love
there.
all
like,
of you.
It's to the point.
600 stuffed animals on her bed.
No, for
I
real.
can't get rid of any of them. I love all of them
equally.
It's true. I've been like KonMariing my house at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I really have been. I took a gigantic car full of crap to Savers and I felt great about it.
Yeah.
Took another chunk the other day. As soon as I got to media, because I had like a list of like, okay, get rid of
I love
clothes.
you. I love you also much.
I can't do it.
Nope.
I can't effing do it. I can't do it. I haven't played like
Jerem's
fucking-
like, Lynn, you got to get rid of some of it. And she's like,
Oh, no.
No, I'm sleeping with these movies
Oh
tonight.
no, we are.
Don't you touch them.
No, Jeremy and I are enablers of each other to a hardcore
Well, that's
degree,
good.
where it's
That is
like
good.
Kind of good.
like I have uniracers on the Super Nintendo. I have the original cartridge. I haven't played it in
Can't
years.
get rid of
I'll
that.
probably never play it again, but I'm not going to get rid of it. It will stay with me forever, and I hope I get buried with it. All of my games.
I'm never booting my Xbox
surrounding.
360 games again, but
Nope,
Lord knows they're not going anywhere.
Lynn's like,
I'm never getting
Lynn,
rid of them.
Lynn's on her deathbed. Lynn, you can't take it with you. And she's like, extra big coffin. I need all of these games in there with me now. Where's my Super Nintendo?
They're mine.
I make the joke like I was born in the year of the dragon, the Chinese zodiac. It was like Chinese New Year recently. Like, ooh, it's fun. But
You have a cool one. I think I'm Year of the Dog.
Yeah,
like a smelly idiot.
Well, no, dogs are loyal and great.
Yeah, but they stink
Rats
and like.
are. No,
There's
Oh,
a,
hey,
no,
I'm a dragon
Remember-
too. That's fucking
no,
tight.
people are like,
No, and-
oh,
yeah.
you dog.
And
No
here's-
one calls you a dog in a good way. I'll say that.
Here's like
What's up, dog?
That's DAWG.
Turned.
That's not how I spell it.
No, the stereotype about dragons is that like they're really like ambitious and like fiery, but also lazy, and that is me. My dragon horde is me lying on top of all of my antiquated games.
Lynn's Smaug.
fat,
Lynn is smogging her
snoring.
game.
Smouging of video-
Yeah,
smogging
I'm
of
not
video
using them, but
games.
no one else can have them. That is me with all of my games.
Yep. No, so I have so many games on my hard drive that I cannot delete, and I'll probably never get in there again. I'll
What's
never
yours?
get in
What's
there.
your number one?
Well, there's like
League of
let's see.
Legends. You just can't
League
let
of,
it go.
no. I have deleted it and then I
And
re-downloaded
reinstall
it
it.
and I haven't taken it off
Yep.
again. I'm trying to think what's a good one. So half of my Dice of Destiny games, even ones that I loved and I haven't really jumped on since.
You're not deleting them?
I'm trying to think of the names of them, but yeah, I have so many games like that. Doki Doki.
Yep.
I'll never play it again, but I loved it, and so it just exists on my computer now.
It's
like that's a thing.
For me, it's like this thing. It's like I paid for it. I want to keep it, even if I'm not using it anymore.
I don't want to see it grayed out. That makes me sad.
Exactly.
No, I have loads of these games. I bet on my hard drive, on my Steam, I'm looking right now. I bet I have 80 games downloaded on my Steam that I just can't get rid of. Oh, Plants vs. Zombies.
Oh yeah.
I've got a ton of time in that I'm like, can't get rid of that. The other one on the Switch is Stardew Valley.
Oh yeah.
I'm probably not going to play it again. Can't delete it.
No, why
like,
would you?
Oh, I can't.
I got into my old Stardew game it's been sitting there for 5 months. Don't ever go back. It was like I was like, what the fuck was going on here?
What am I
was
doing?
No, it's great.
What was
You
I
wake up and you go
doing?
do all your chores.
No, I should just booted a new game. Like I should just make a new town because I was like, I don't know any of my relationships. I don't know what's going on.
Divinity Original Sin 2. I still have it on there. Haven't played it in a long time. I love the game so much. I'll never delete it.
Yeah.
I'll probably never play again.
Like
I just can't.
I can't even like really empathize or understand the idea of deleting a game because I'm the hoarder to the extent where I want to have the physical copy still. Like I will go like to a store and
'cause
buy.
Well,
in
you
a
can't
cardboard
Smaug with
case.
your game
Yeah,
if it's
exactly.
digital.
Exactly.
You have to. You need something to lay on top of.
That's amazing.
My forked tongue coming out of my teeth. Just
All right, we got to move on.
Yep. Let's go.
Okay, so Lynn, you told us that you are not playing The Witcher 3.
I am not playing The Witcher 3. But
Why are we talking about The Witcher 3 then?
Yeah.
So
Is this like the anti-Witcher 3 segment?
I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This I think happened for a lot of people where The Witcher was one of those games that I had heard of and everyone raved about, and I was like, okay, that's like definitely on my list of games
Never
I'm going
got
to
to
play, and never got to it.
Yep.
Right. And then when the
I feel
TV
that.
show came out, it's kind of reignited this idea.
So
like,
you've watched
yeah.
it?
Yeah. So we finished watching the
Sweet.
first season, and like my little brother was like, yo, you're going to love this. I love the game. You will love this show. And I trust him. And so I was like, okay, let's watch it. And for sure, we watched the whole thing in like 2 days or something. And we were into it. Before we started watching the show, Jerem was like, oh, The Witcher, that show is coming out. I've wanted to play this game, so he bought it. And so while we were watching the show, he was kind of playing with it a little bit. And
Witcher 3?
Witcher 3,
Okay,
yep.
got it.
So I was kind of watching him, and this is the first time, because I think there have been times where I don't know if you guys can relate to this at all, where I'll see a game and I'm like, ooh, that looks so fun. I'm also intimidated by it. And that's...
Most games.
Yeah,
Most games,
okay, so you can relate to
honestly.
that. This is the first time that I have seen someone play a game and me go, okay, I was intimidated by this game, and for good fucking reason. Because watching Jerem try to learn how to play this game was exhausting just to watch.
Really?
Like the gameplay looks hard?
Like not the gameplay. It's just there is so much fucking stuff that you can do in this game. We just didn't know where to begin.
Like question marks all over the
like
map.
all over the place. And like there are so many different things you can do. You can customize your character in so many ways. There are so many different like ways that you can like specialize. And it was just overwhelming to this absurd degree. Like every time
is it more complex than Skyrim then?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. In my opinion, I think. Because it was like Skyrim I kind of slogged through. And like every now and then I'd be like, wait, I don't get this. And like Jerem would be like, oh no, and explain it. I'm like, oh, okay. But for the most part, I could figure out everything on my own.
Sure.
This has been the first time that I have seen someone like their laptops out. They're looking at it, and they're looking at the screen. They're like calling someone to be like, what the hell do I do? Like, I don't understand. But loving every fucking second
he
of
does,
it.
or you do?
He does.
Okay.
He is so into it. Like,
He's
again,
into
Jerem
it.
and I are like codependent people. And so, like, if we don't go to bed at the same time, we're just kind of like, what's kind of wrong? Like, And I didn't see him for like 2 weeks. 2 weeks I didn't see him. And like we just didn't fall asleep at the same time like we always have done. Like because he was so into this game.
It's good.
He was so into this game. And this is the funniest part.
What's he playing on real quick?
He's playing on a PS4.
Okay.
We're console gamers like the plebs we are. So he's playing this game, and like every now and then, like he would like text my brother and be like, "Okay, like what's alchemy? How do I do this?" And Alan would be like, "Oh, you gotta do alchemy." He was like the Witcher Gandalf that was like guiding him through. Like, here's the way you want to go.
Sherpa?
Yes, exactly. And then this is the best part.
God.
So Jerem's playing this
Spiritual
game.
guide over here.
He goes and because he works out of town a lot, he works events, and so like he can't take his console with him or whatever. Although he did try the PS4 Now streaming service. Not so great. Like he could do dialogue based stuff, but there was a bit of a lag.
Yeah.
Speaking of that. So he goes off to work and then he comes back and he's just like, "Whew, gotta get back into this game."
He's been thinking about it the whole time he's been gone.
He was thinking about. He's like, I think I missed
know that.
The Witcher more than I missed you.
Nope,
This
I can
last
feel
trip I
that
was
too.
on.
You just can't. You're at a thing where you can't stop thinking about it.
Oh no! And then this was the best part.
It's me with The Bachelor this season.
That's
Keep going.
the best trash I've ever poured into my eyes.
Speaking of trash being poured into your eyes. So he gets back and he's like, okay, like I'm a little bit lost. It's been a while since I've played the game. I can't remember where I am at. So I'm going to explore this area of this game that I haven't like really gone into yet, which is the card game Gwent.
Yeah.
Because when you first start the game, like it's just like, Gwent, learn how to play. And he was like, I'm going to learn how to play just this game in general. A game within a game. No, I'm not going to worry about that just quite yet.
Caravan in Fallout New Vegas. No fucking way.
I never understood it.
No way.
No. So now he's been back for about a week or so. The only thing I have seen him done in the game since he's been back is fucking playing Gwent.
Playing a game.
That's
in the game.
all he's doing. He's
Playing
just like
Gwent.
playing Gwent. Now,
Shoot.
not only is he addicted to The Witcher, he's addicted to Gwent in The Witcher.
Does he know
These
that there's
guys
an
are-
actual game, Gwent?
Yes, he does,
Okay.
and I'm
tell him.
afraid.
Don't tell him.
I'm afraid for what will happen in the future.
Because I think
Dude.
that game has microtransactions, so let's not tell him about that.
Yeah, no, let's not do that.
Oh my God.
It is one of the best things I have ever seen. Someone just enjoying a game so thoroughly.
So
and
do you
just-
think he's going to like try to 100% it?
Oh, and
That's
that's-
kind of the trend he's on.
And I think he's going to, because Jerem
Oof,
is
that
also
would be
a
impressive.
completionist. It's really difficult for him to like bounce off of a game.
Well, I was just going to
He's-
say that's a bad game to put in front of a completionist.
Oh, that's
It
like
is a
200 hours.
yeah, it's like Skyrim too. Like there,
He doesn't have time to play Gwent.
Yeah, what is he doing? Oh, this is gonna be like an MMO for
I
him. Like
think-
he just plays it 8 hours a day and
Oh.
doesn't
Is
get
what he
anywhere.
does all the time.
Yeah,
I'm
holy
sure.
shit.
I'm sure.
This
And
is
it's,
life now.
It's really funny. So like we went to Chick Queen the other night, right? So we go, like we eat our food. It was fun. We come back, and the first thing that like he does when he gets in the door, he's like, "Time to go play some Gwent."
The
Oh my gosh, he is into this.
Just to play Gwent. And then the other funny thing is that
Are you sure he's like been eating all of his meals? Like
have
he's
to-
not going to die playing Gwent, is he?
You know-
Text him right now and just
Yeah.
make sure.
Babe,
Jerem,
babe.
are you okay? Send me a video
blink
of your
twice
face.
if you need help.
Oh my God.
It's like can't. My Gwent hand is too busy.
Can't.
Busy with my Gwent hand.
So no, real quick before, and then I'll end. But I know that this is a good game too, because one, he's enjoying it so much, but two, last night he was like we were watching a show or whatever. He plays Gwen for a little bit, goes to bed, wakes up the next morning, and he's just like, I fell asleep with that stupid Gwent song in my head, and I woke up and that was the first thing that came back
just
into it.
humming
It's
it,
just,
singing
I
it.
was
it's
going
a
to say, because when you play those in-game games,
Oh, yeah.
it's always
It's
the same little jingle
stupid
over
little
and
medieval.
over and over.
Yep, nope, he's screwed.
He's screwed. I loved him when I had him, but I think he belongs to The Witcher now.
That's
but
okay.
At the same time, if you love something,
The
you have to
Witcher's
let it
claimed
go.
to
Maybe it'll
him.
come back.
Maybe he'll come back, but yep, we've opened our relationship to
Now
Witcher
you-
3.
I was going to say, you
Now-
guys are in an
now
open
Lynn's-
relationship
Yep.
now,
Lynn's
and
like a-
you're free to get addicted to whatever game you want.
Yeah,
That's true.
I mean, I think we've already had kind of like Overwatch and Stardew as like my rotating like
Lovers.
lovers.
We got it.
Yep.
So, okay, so yeah, that's fun. We had some questions we wanted to ask you.
Ask me.
Okay. First, what are your thoughts about Geralt? You've seen the show.
Yes.
You've seen the game. What are your thoughts about him?
This game is like that stereotypical like idea of like a gamer fantasy game. This is it. This is 100%
Yep.
pure straight male fantasy. Geralt's like this older but still like ripped dude. Like objectively, like both Henry Cavill and then like Geralt in the game, both of them are attractive.
Yeah, they look good
they're
in a
good-looking.
weird bleachy way.
But every single woman character that you ever talk to is immediately obsessed with you, right? And they're all these gorgeous hourglass figures,
Just
big
huge
breasts,
boobs.
like slim,
Bouncy boobs, too? Like their
smooth
boobs will bounce while they're talking
skin.
to
Yeah,
you?
like every
yeah. No, this is
every woman in this game is a 10. And then like
Jerem's playing the fucking card game. You got
And
yourself
Jer-
a winner, Lynn. That's awesome. That's fucking awesome.
No, until Lynn goes to bed.
And then he does all this.
and then he's like,
Jennifer.
okay, now I can go to the brothel.
What's
no.
up?
So I was sitting and watching with him, and he's like, I was sitting and watching with him, and he was like, oh, this is a prostitute, and there's like some women like in like. Because they definitely had thong bikinis, like in this fantasy world,
Oh, absolutely.
right? That like lift up, like and
That makes
push up
sense.
bras that just like lift everything to
That
where
makes
it needs
sense.
to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like
These
Everyone's
tanners
has-
working with leather from a cow that was butchered
Yes.
a month ago.
They're like,
They're
how can
like,
we make this
most
more
delic-
supportive
the
of
most
a
delicate
garment?
of laces.
Yeah.
they care.
Yes, they care. And he's like, "Oh yeah, let's go to like one of the fancy brothels." So he goes into a brothel. I'm watching him, and we went through, and I was like, "No, don't sleep with her. No, don't sleep with her. Her, sleep with
That's the
her."
one.
Yep. And he was like, "I actually haven't done this in the game yet, so let's see what it's like." It is the funniest shit I've ever
I
seen.
was going to ask you about this.
Wait, this is like
my
a
God.
sex
like a
mechanic,
sex scene,
right?
yeah. Like
Okay.
so, like we go
There's
into
a scene. It's
yeah,
like a
we go
scene.
into like the fanciest brothel. We get like some. She was like blonde and pretty, and I was like, yeah, let's.
Oh, so
bang
that's
her.
your type. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, we'll bang
Interesting.
her, and then it's like, oh, she's an elf. Ooh, wow.
Tight.
Okay, let's go for this. And it was
Lynn is getting into it.
it was the funniest thing I've ever seen because, again, there is absolutely no point to this at all. Besides, just I'm going to waste money and watch 15 seconds of a poor, like, softcore porn.
Yeah, this is
Like,
like a
that's it, like-
Cinemax level
Yeah, like-
porn.
But
Disappointing.
also, like, not with, like, a
People just
real
bumping
human
against each
body.
other.
It's just, like, weird, like, sort of, like, uncanny valley tits that
Yeah.
are, like,
Oh,
way
no.
too bulbous, but they, like, tried to make them, like, the areoles look like a little realistic. And, like,
They have like
her
physics for the
yeah, and her
areolas.
hair.
Is this the first time we've said areola on the show?
It's certainly going to be the last time because I fucking hate it.
It's definitely not going to. This is my new word.
That's going to be the sign off.
Talk about words we hate. Moist and areola. Don't.
In the same sentence is not great
A
either.
moist areola.
And she had
I don't
like
like this.
long, blonde
How did we get here?
hair that was like not like flowing right. It was just
Right.
the most awkward, weird thing I've ever seen. And then at the very end, she like slaps him on the ass and then holds out her hand and Gerald
some cash.
gives her some coins, and then we were back to playing. The
I was going to
game.
ask you what you thought about the nudity scenes because these are like a staple. And I was talking to JD about this. The Witcher is so funny because it is exactly that. It's like this male fantasy because
100%.
every chick wants to bang him. Do you
So
know
bad.
why? Have you picked up why yet?
So bad.
Have you picked up why?
No.
Because he's a Witcher. He can't get sick, so he can't get illnesses. So they know he doesn't have an STD, and he can't have kids. So he's
Perfect.
sterile, and they know he's clean. And so they're
Sterile,
like,
clean,
immediately,
ripped.
every chick is like, oh,
So ripped?
there he is I'm going to get it on with Geralt, the Witcher. Here we go. Every single chicken. It is a male fantasy.
It is a male fantasy. And
1,000%.
the funniest thing to watch.
Okay,
But
sounds
also,
like a walking dildo.
But also not like
For fuck's sake, dude. That's not my fantasy. I don't want to be treated like a sex toy. Christ almighty.
That is what happens in the
Yeah,
games.
dude.
All of the games.
Fuck me.
And then, but not only
No, that's what the women say.
I don't
to
want
Geralt.
to.
Yes,
Jesus
Geralt.
Christ.
But also male fantasy in terms of just like, and then you can go just kill a bunch of
And
shit.
then you just,
and
like,
then you can just go
Magic and a
kill
sword, and
bunch
you
of
just
shit.
slaughter monsters with impunity.
Yes.
No. So okay. Are you a silent watcher or are you a vocal watcher? Are you like, no, Jerem, go over there, pick up that thing.
Oh no, I'm a silent watcher.
Stab him in the face.
And I think it's entirely just because like
That's
Jerem
my
and I
Lynn
have
voice.
been married for 10 years this year. We've been married
heard
for
worse.
a long time. And I think I just know him well enough where like we're the complete antithesis of gamers. Like I like to go really quick and I smash things and I'm like a shotgun, like rah, run, kill.
Wow.
He combs and completes everything, so he will look through every blade of grass. He will look in every searchable
Oh,
thing.
I feel that.
Yeah, and
that's
he just
a real problem for me.
crawls slowly through games. And I have learned that if I ask him like, "What are you doing? Do this instead." He'll be like, "No, I have to do this first."
Lynn's
No,
running
stop,
around
no, stop.
mashing the A button, just swinging her sword
Yep.
as she runs.
Yep.
What
Seeing if
can
you
I hit?
cut- like when Link can cut the grass in Legend of Zelda, so you
will
just
cut
mow the whole
every
fucking lawn.
damn
He's over
blade
there like
of
he-
grass.
He's over there got a pattern in Breath of the Wild. He's like, okay, I'm gonna
Like
go
a
up here
Zamboni.
and turn around
Yeah, he's
and
like
go back.
he's like mowing the lawn.
Yep, he will cut every damn blade of grass.
Oh my gosh.
It is. When we were playing co-op Borderlands, it worked out perfectly because he always does like those sneaky snipers and like is like really strategic and quiet.
And you're
just,
running
and
in
then
and
I
dying.
run in with like a shotgun, like as Salvador, like let's go. Woo!
And you're like, don't die, Jerem, because I'm knocked. I'm down.
I know.
It's
Yep.
like we just started. And
Yep.
that's how my 10-year-old plays Fortnite. If he sees a group of 4, he's like, well, here I go.
Yeah.
And we're like, dude, what are you doing? None of us are with you. And he's like, I see guys. I got to run at them.
I get
Yep.
it. I get it. I relate to that. Okay, well, let's just move in our next segment. This is
Yep.
a perfect segue.
You bet I can't wait.
We haven't done that one in a while.
I know, it's tight, right? All right, love it or love it, leave it is our back and forth segment where we take turns talking about something we love and something we don't love.
About a topic.
And the topic is watching people play games because that's what Lynn's doing right now. I have been doing it a lot with Jenna lately with all the VR stuff she's been doing. So let's start. I will start
With a love it.
I'll start with a love it.
John Lovett.
Nice. I like when someone I'm watching involves me, and we're like playing as a team. Like I'm their support staff. So
you're watching
solving-
someone live. And
so
they're
solving
doing it.
puzzles or being like, what do you think we do on this part? I remember growing up, I would play games with my brother sometimes, and that's what I would do because I wasn't allowed to play them, obviously. But I would,
Shut up, JD.
yeah, but I was always there was a brief period of time when I was actually allowed to comment. It was right before I think he realized how much
This was the
better
prime
I was.
of JD's childhood.
It really was.
When he was when he was allowed to talk when his brother was playing video games.
Absolutely.
Any designated player 2 growing up will relate to that.
Yep.
I was
Lynn
younger, so
gets
I was
it.
always player 2. I always had the off-brand controller that was cheaper and
The
broke.
Mad Cats.
Yep.
It's always a sticky button controller.
Yep.
Mhm.
The
Not
joystick
very
always makes you just
responsive.
like go slightly to the
A
right.
lot of drifting on the joystick. Yeah, so
if you shake it, you hear a rattling
Yep.
sound.
yeah, but like nothing is more fun than watching someone. So say like for your first time, especially if you don't know, watching someone play Portal and like being like, what if you do this? What if you do that? Like playing Portal with like the first one, with not the co-op one, but playing Portal with somebody and talking through the puzzles and trying to figure it out. Any puzzle game, really. I love that.
Okay,
Peterson.
okay, so I'll do a leave it.
Yeah.
Well, so much of games is not fun to watch. And I'm talking like puzzle games are meant, I think, to be like stimulating most of the time and like there's something to do. But like if you take an RPG, most of the game is not fun to watch. But I'm talking about because you're doing inventory management. You're doing you're
God.
traversing the world. And those are the games a lot of times
Or
that
you're
I'll-
crafting. How about crafting?
Yeah.
You can spend an hour crafting. It's the single most boring fucking thing
and
you
like
could ever imagine.
when you're doing it, you're like, okay, you know what you're doing. and
Delightful.
you-
It's like ticking all these boxes in your
Yes.
brain. You're getting
Yes.
endorphins from organizing shit, and the person watching you is like, "How
What
much
is
longer are you
happening?
going to be building a
Oh my
sword?"
Yeah.
like in Skyrim when you're grinding your crafting skills, so you just craft the same iron dagger 200 times and then throw it in the pond
and toss it.
Yeah, and so someone's watching you. Like,
wait, you throw it in the pond?
Craft.
No, I have to have a specific chest for all my daggers that I crafted because I can't throw stuff away.
I threw so many in the main town in Whiterun in Skyrim. I threw so many items that I'd crafted in the little river that's right there. The game stopped fucking loading properly. I had to go pick them all up and put them in something because there were so many objects.
It was just too much for the game.
Because I'd grab 20 or 30 like steel ingots and like a bunch of leather, and I'd just go and make the same iron dagger so many times, and I'd just go stand in the river and dump it. Eventually the river, you could just walk across the top of it because there's so much shit in it, and then my game would just like start crashing because
it doesn't like
that's
that.
too many objects.
I am so glad that you brought that up because when I was watching Jerem play Skyrim like 5 years ago, every time I walked in, he was
crafting.
Smithing.
He was always smithing because you have to just grind to get your smith skill. Because how else are you going to make dragon bone armor if your smith skill is in 250?
Oh, and he had it down to a science where he was like, I know that I need to make like gold and silver necklaces with gems because I can sell those and get the most money. So he would just be like,
that's what I do. I would sell all the silver daggers, even though I don't need the money because I've got like a million gold or whatever, like a just ridiculous amount.
Yep.
But I'm like, still gotta spend it. I
yeah,
can't just
and he would like
fast
travel to different towns to find merchants with enough
the
money
merchants
to buy
with
all
the
the
money.
stupid shit that he had. Like,
yes, if you have this disorder that Jerem and I have, you know which merchants have money and which merchants' money refreshes periodically.
Yep.
Yes, I didn't sell them because I was like, there's so many annoying kids in the town. You can't kill the kids in Skyrim. I was like, maybe if they just find a knife and keep running with it, it'll take care of itself.
And really what happened is all the poor beavers that lived in that river, they were trying to make a dam out of daggers. Didn't go well for them.
You eco-terrorist.
Seriously, you're rude.
Imagine being an eco-terrorist that actively destroys the environment.
This is true.
That would be bleak.
Anti-eco-terrorist.
Yeah.
There you go.
Lynn, what do you love about watching people play games?
Okay, it was funny because I was actually going to do a leave it where I hate watching people, like being cooperative when watching a game. I hate that. If I wanted to be involved in a game, I would just play the dang game.
Oh, okay.
When I watch a game, it's because I'm too tired or exhausted from my day because I have major depression that I just want to watch someone play a game and not think, but still maybe get a little bit of the satisfaction of watching like someone work through a puzzle. So it's kind of like being a lazy dragon and watching someone do something.
Yeah,
and
I
then
just want to lay on my pile of games,
I want to lay on my pile of games and watch someone else
and watch them play while I just roll around in them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. Like for me, I think it might also because the person that I watch play games the most is Jerem, and we play so differently that it's like just frustrating for both of us. So I just like to sit, chill, watch him do his grass cutting and smithing, and it's therapeutic and mindful.
I have 3 in a row, and they're all basically the same. It's when someone plays too slowly and stealthily, when someone is straight up playing the game wrong, or when someone just fucking sucks. It is the worst. So, really close friend of mine, Jeff, he plays everything very stealthily, deliberately, and very slowly.
Ew.
It is mind-numbing. We would grow up, and I'd because I play like a dumbass, right? I just go, I play every game like it's Doom. I don't care if it's Splinter Cell or Skyrim. I'm gonna go straight in like your kid and just go straight for the enemy.
Yep.
But Jeff is like meticulous, and he'll see someone in the distance. He's like, I'd spend the next 10 minutes picking a weapon and the exact right arrow because I'm going to kill him.
How to get him.
And I'm going to get him right. And I'm like, Jeff!
JD's like, oops. JD's running at him. Oh, crap. Accidentally equipped my level 1 dagger. Oh, well. Here we go.
Guess I had to stab him a bunch more times. It's over now. I just don't care. So if you don't play how I want you to play, it will drive me nuts.
So I have one similar to that because, along with Jerem. So, and here's the thing. Because people won't do the stupid collecting things that I do. And even if I was watching Jerem, like he would be meticulous a different way than I would. And I'm like, I can't stand it. What are you going to do with all those bones? You got to put them in the attic or in the basement. Why aren't you doing that?
What are you're just going to leave those
and
bones
like when
there?
people don't collect stuff, because I collect everything that's like unique in the game.
You would fucking hate it.
I'd be like, pick that up, take it back to your base. Don't you have a basin to put it in?
Yeah.
You just throw them in there and you've got a pile of them. It would drive me crazy. Or if they're not organizing their inventory the same way I would, because I am very specific about my inventory and the way it's set up.
I would love to see your house.
My house is not nice at all.
Not
this is just
of
video
his
games.
actual life.
Because here's the thing. Yeah, my office, my desk is just a mess of Post-it notes. I'm not kidding. I probably cleaned up 9 or 10 of those like larger Post-it notes today off my desk that I haven't needed for months. Right? That's how bad but it's no real work. I can just sit there and be like, oh man, I need to collect every
Move
teddy
this
bear
there,
and like
yeah.
put all the teddy bears here.
Absolutely.
It's so stupid. We need to love it though.
I can do a love it.
I've got some.
I like when the game is super hard and I can just admire their skill. So
Yes.
Jenna has become so obsessed with Beat Saber. It's like her thing. She just is.
That's how she exercises too.
Yeah, it's like her exercise thing. And so in the same way, I remember being addicted to Guitar Hero 3, where it's just like you play the same song 20 times just to get through this one
you
hard
got it.
segment. And like that's where she's at with Beat Saber. And so like I step in because I've played a lot of rhythm games and I play and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty fun. I play it on hard. And then I'm like, and then I'll sit down and watch her play and I'm like, the fuck? You can
like,
do all this? When did you get this good?
Jenna, where's Yoda? Did
then-
he train you?
Yeah, exactly. And then she
are a
turns around and
Jedi
she's like,
Knight?
do you want to try this one? I was like, no. And then she did this the other night. She's like, do you want to try this one? And I did it. And I didn't get through like the first like 15 seconds of a song. I was like, fuck you. Are you flexing on me like that? What the fuck's wrong with you?
No, JD's like super turned on. He's like,
Yeah.
Jenna, you're a Jedi.
You're a Jedi.
I have thought about this exact scenario.
So many times.
So yeah, that is when someone's just amazing at a game, just like speedrunning, like
Yeah, when
watching
you're-
speedrunners.
it's-
It's just I just love to respect people like that.
Yeah. Let's see. I have. When you're leave it. When you're watching someone play a game with dialogue, and here's the problem with that: because you don't want them to skip it, because you want to make sure you get it, but you also kind of want them to skip it.
Yes.
Because if you've already read it, right, and then you're like, oh my gosh, and they won't skip it. So, but if they skip it too fast, then you're like, I can't pick up on any of this. This is so stupid.
Yep.
Yeah, that is infuriating.
Right. Yes.
Infuriating.
Can't handle it. One thing that I love, it has to do with like kind of skill level too, is watching people play games that I normally know that I would not enjoy playing. So Cuphead is a good example of that.
Yeah.
Like Cuphead was
Love
a game,
watching Cuphead.
Yes, when
Don't
it came
wanna
out, I was
play
like,
it.
I wanted to see this art style. This looks so effing cool.
This is crazy.
Me playing this game, I instantly would be too difficult for me, and it wouldn't be fun, and I would quit,
I'd
and I would
hate
not
it.
do it. So I watched Continue, that show on YouTube. I watched them play it, and it was perfect because I got to see all the cool art styles that I liked, and I got to watch people like overcome like a really difficult part.
Crazy characters.
Yes, but
and-
but I didn't have to slog through it myself. It's perfect.
That was my
Cuphead's a
experience
great one for
when
that.
Jenna was playing Celeste. There was tons of times she'd be like, "Do you want to play?" And I was like, "No,
Yeah. Absolutely, do not.
I don't like this. Isn't rewarding for me. You play it; it's way hard. I'll watch you play it. Enjoy not having to do that. I'll leave it, and this is kind of my last one. Probably just do one more. I hate when people don't give a game that I'm really into or a game I want them to play a fair shake.
Oh, yeah.
So you introduce them to a game, I don't know, like
You're all
BioShock,
excited
and they're
about
like,
it.
they go through the first hour and it's kind of slow and it's world building and they're skipping the dialogue so they don't know what's going on, and you're like,
You know,
you're playing it wrong. When you play the game right, you're playing it all wrong. Oh my god, you're playing it all wrong!
It's almost like a personal offense to me, right? Like
Yes!
the games that I enjoy so much, I like them for a
I
reason.
shared
show
this
someone-
with you.
Yeah,
You show someone a show and then you look over and they're on their phone and you're like,
yeah.
you're missing the important part.
You
It's fine.
bastard.
It's like, you just
No,
like the
hey,
coolest
hey,
part.
wait,
Oh,
wait,
no,
you gotta
just-
see this.
just
You're,
watch
like,
this part.
pausing
Just watch
it.
this part, please.
Hey, no, go. You gotta watch this though, for real. Oh, it's cool. Just
Yeah.
watch this.
I'll just rewind it. You missed the last part because you were on Instagram.
There's a clear part of you that identifies with it, right? Yeah. And that's why you're so eager to share it with someone. And then when they don't like it, it's like they're rejecting a part
It's like
of
they
you.
don't like you.
It hurts so much. It hurts so much.
personal?
Oh,
Yeah.
It's like just barely when
it's
you're like,
weirdly
I-
offensive.
Yeah, I love Stardew. I'm never going to play it again. I'm like, how fucking dare you? I have sunk like 800 hours into this game, you monster. You don't want to go date people in the town? Screw you.
What's
I don't
wrong-
want to date people in the town.
What are you saying? What are you trying to say
Yeah.
about me, huh?
Lynn's like super offended by that.
I'm so offended.
Lynn, I played it for over 100 hours. I'm like 5 or 6 years in.
Did you date anybody? Did you
Yeah,
give
I'm
them
married.
a mermaid pendant?
I'm
Did
married
you
with a
then
baby.
divorce them?
No.
Then you haven't
did you
really
turn the
given it a
baby
fair
into a
shot.
bird and watch it fly away?
I definitely did that.
Wait, you can do that?
Yeah, it's like
No, I did play with my baby every morning, though. That was like a part of my chores. Oh, I got a kid now. I got to go throw it up in the air.
Yeah, I got sick of that shit, so I gave a witch a prismatic shard, and they turned into birds, and I never had to see them
Lynn
again.
threw it up in the air and it never came back down. That's how you do it.
Oh, man. Oh,
you guys have last ones, love, leave, whatever. Dealer's choice.
Good.
Okay, let's move on.
Dice of destiny.
And you were giving a shit when we were trying to shred earlier during the intro?
This happened because
My
JD's computer died.
We didn't have the soundboard, so we just went a cappella.
Oh, my God.
All right, Dice of Destiny is this dope game we play at the end of every episode. We roll a 20-sided dice with 20 different game genres on it. We roll a 6-sided dice with that to determine how much money we can spend on it. We roll another dice to see who has to find a game for that genre in that price range and play it and review it and whatever. And this time, last week, I rolled a mystery game.
Sweet. That's a sweet roll.
That is a sweet roll.
And it was $40 or fewer, and I went with Peterson recommendation. Actually, the one Peterson mentioned was the return of the Obra Dinn. So, have you...
No.
So, it's on a lot of shit. I have it on the Switch.
Yep.
$20. Absolutely well worth it. I have played it for a couple hours so far. I'm obsessed with it. You should actually play. It'd be a good game to play while Jerem's playing The Witcher. So, it is a mystery game. It is 1-bit is how they refer to the art style because it's monochromatic and it's just like dots.
Yep.
But they're expanded to a 3D space, so it's almost like dot art. And what you're doing is you are an insurance investigator on a shipping vessel back in like the 1700s, and you jump on the vessel because it's like returned to port and everyone's dead and it's a ghost ship. And you are trying to figure out what happened on the ship. You have this compass thingy that allows you to see the last moments of someone's life or death, I guess, whatever. And you also have a notebook or a journal that has it has 3 etchings that show essentially the face of everyone on the ship. And then you have a manifest, like a passenger manifest. So you have pictures of everyone, you have everyone's name, and that's it. And you're going through finding all these corpses. Once you find a corpse, you activate your little thing, and then it takes you to basically a frozen static thing. So it's like a guy holding a gun shooting it, and the gun's belching fire, and then someone in front of them is getting shot, and then you go and you look at that person and you match them up to the picture, the etching that you have in your journal, and then you try to determine through context clues or the very limited dialogue who that person was, how they died, who shot them, why, and you just take it all down in your journal. You don't have to do this though. You could just go through and look at everyone, and it would just advance you. But the guessing and the solving is entirely up to you. And so you can do it at your own pace. You can guess people entirely wrong if you want. As an example, there was this guy who died, and the dialogue, he's like, "I'm so sorry, Abigail, I can't believe I killed your brother." And so I go to the ship manifest, look at the gal named Abigail. She has a maiden name. I find the dude with the maiden name, and I find out that that was her brother, and that he was the one that was killed in this scene that I was in. It is very unique. Maybe one of the more unique games I've played in a long time. It was made by one dude and his wife.
Won a bunch of awards.
Won an incredible amount of awards. I think it was absolutely deserving of. So I don't have my full review yet. My just right now, my first.
Oh my god, the first impression, Rose.
My first impressions are it is amazing. I can already preemptively say buy it any price. But I will have a full review next week once I've kind of either beaten it or gotten much more into it and played it more. But guys, this is an incredible game. Like just as a mystery game, like as the ambiance of it, and there's a ton of stuff in it that I cannot tell you and will not tell you because I don't want to spoil it. I think everyone should go into this pretty dry and then try to figure this out on your own, because there are things that I found last night and I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, dude. This is like scratching an itch that I wanted for a while. Yeah. Like a creepy, like I just looked.
Oh,
at
it's
the
creepy.
art,
Yes,
the art style of this game looks.
It's wild, right?
So spooky.
It's spooky. It's slow, and so you take your time. Like this is a game you can just put the controller down and walk away, and come back. There's no action at all. Not at all. There's none. There's no time or anything. There's no skill required. It's a first-person game, so you just wander around the ship looking for clues. It's very reminiscent of older games like this that would be in 2D, but the fact that it's in 3D and the way it's broken out is so good. So obviously I love it. I think you guys should all try it. And to play us out this week, we have the soundtrack. This is the soundtrack from the game. It's really, really well done.
Awesome.
All right, guys. That's all for us this week. I'm JD, logging off.
This is Peterson, going AFK.
This is Lynn, going to go play a rousing game of Gwent.
Peterson Productions. Oh, yeah.